Okay, let's give it a start. I guess if others will join, I can just then add them later. But we have many things to discuss. Yeah, very welcome to this first developer community call about the open charging network. And yeah, good that you're here. And I guess it's also for us the first time. So let's see how this goes and how deep the discussions around all the issues that we have, or proposals or ideas, how these go. But we are aiming for approximately 1 hour, and also happy then if anyone else has any question to discuss those. Quickly from our side, who's on this call? Yeah, it's John. Maybe John, say quickly hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm one of the developers with Share&Charge.
Cool. Then we have Azon.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arjun Barua, and I'm one of the developers of Share&Charge.
Cool. Then we have Micha, who is the CTO of the Share&Charge Foundation, but also from the Energy Hub Foundation. Micha.
Hello. Happy to be here on this first call and forwarding the development of the open charging network.
Cool. And we also have Adam.
Hello, everyone.
Good that you're here as well. Yeah, also to open up the panel to you guys, who else is there that we don't know yet? I at least see, yeah, four other people. Maybe you want to quickly share who you are and where you're from, if you want to, of course. I'm happy that you are here. Okay, but yeah, still happy that you are here. Yeah, very important to mention, and we will be recording this webinar, just that it is also available to the wider community afterwards, because it might be interesting to hear what we are discussing throughout this call. And we will publish this on YouTube and put a link on our wiki where you then can watch it once more if you are interested. And yeah, it is important that this is not a webinar. It is a discussion. We want to have this monthly from now on, where we want to discuss what types of issues we have on our repositories and what kind of requirements are out there in the community, and what we need to incorporate in future versions of the Open Charging Network. And this is why we set up this webinar, or this community meeting here. And we'll have this, as said, every month now. And if you have any question throughout the webinar, just the meeting, I keep saying webinar, just raise your hand or unmute yourself and feel free to contribute. It's important for us to have a discussion here and not a presentation only from our side. Yeah, to give this call a quick setting, I would quickly talk about the Share&Charge Foundation in the beginning, then about the Open Charging Network, what it is and why it is out there. Then I would quickly talk about like what's going on in the network, where the Open Charging Network is already in use, and which type of projects are out there that want to use it. Then we dive into the development. This will be the main section of this call, when also John will lead us through discussing about the maturity of the Open Charging Network, what kind of features are out there, and what type of or what kind of ideas we have to develop it further, and also discussing then open issues that other parties raised, and also pull requests. And but more on that from John. And in the end, we would just have a small Q&A section and a wrap up, and then call it a day. Yeah, to quickly talk about the Share&Charge Foundation so that you know who is behind this whole thing here. Yeah, the Share&Charge Foundation is a nonprofit organization based in Switzerland, and we are independent. We don't have any shareholders, and we only have one purpose, and that is supporting seamless charging at low cost, and that by using decentralized and open software technology. And this purpose is supervised by the Swiss authorities, and we are bound by this. Yeah, everything we build with the Open Charging Network must follow this purpose. And this is what we also want to discuss in these calls, that we follow this. We have some members, as you can see here, some businesses or research institutions throughout the world, mainly Europe, that support this whole movement. And yeah, glad to have them on board, obviously. What the Open Charging Network is, I guess most of you guys are aware of that. Just a short reminder, it is all about e-roaming, so that e-mobility service providers, charge point operators, and any other kind of business that is interested in electric vehicle charging, that they can talk to each other, and that we have one interoperability layer, and not making many peer-to-peer connections, but having a software in between that is helping us with that, so that e-roaming or the whole interoperability topic in general, because there are other use cases that also require API connections, that this is implemented or can be implemented easily. And yeah, it's currently out there in version 1.0, and we are now also looking into how to develop it further, coming to a version 1.1 at some point, but that's part of the discussion in this call. Two important resources to mention quickly, also for your reference throughout the call. I guess John will show both of them, our wiki on the one hand and the repositories on the other hand. But if you want to click around by yourself throughout the call, just check them out, and I guess they can be helpful. Let's put it that way. Okay, then quickly to some network updates, just for you, if you're interested in what's going on. We have currently now 8 OCN nodes registered, and around 22 registered parties on the OCN registry. And you can see where the parties are, like mainly, solely in whole Europe. And we have in various different countries, we have parties that are already testing against it, or that are interested and reaching out for a counterparty to test with. And if you have any implementation that you want to test against the OCN, you can of course do that by yourself, or if you are interested in some matchmaking, that we can bring together you with another party, because interoperability only makes sense if you have at least 2 parties, right? Then reach out to us via partners@sharecharge.com. Yeah, what else is going on in terms of like innovation? I want to just raise or mention 2 projects. The one is currently ongoing inside the Energy Web Foundation. It's a smart charging pilot, but maybe Micha, you want to say 1 or 2 words to that. I also mentioned here that you're searching for a CPO, but I'm not sure whether this is 100% up to date. So maybe you can just mention that quickly.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, it is up to date. We're still looking for a charge point operator, and actually also for an MSP to connect to the OCN. So the project is about using the OCN for integration purposes, and the integration in this case is into flexibility markets to use smart charging to provide flexibility for the TSO, more specifically for frequency restoration. It's an ongoing project, and if you have, well, if you want to participate as a CPO, then please reach out. And obviously, all the details will be made public at the end of the project. We cannot say who the TSO is at this time.
Cool. But it is a TSO in Europe, right?
Right. So there are only 16 to choose from.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And then another project that came across is that a MSP from France was reaching out to us that they want to look into the OCN as well and want to build a translator between OCPI 2.11 and the Open Charging Network, which is based on the OCPI 2.2 protocol. And yeah, I just want to mention it here because they said that they want to invest into building this. But if there are any other parties out there that also need this because they don't want to go to OCPI 2.2 by themselves, I can make an intro there. Just that, yeah, the investment is maybe shared. Yeah, that's it from my side. Is there anything else that someone wants to mention here in terms of projects? Someone else is searching for collaboration partner. Now is the time to speak up.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Carlos, and I'm from Mexico. I'm working at Bosch here in Mexico. We have a location in Guadalajara, and I have been working in projects for electrification, mainly one for the 48 volts battery for customers as General Motors or Suzuki. And yeah, I'm interested in the topic of electrification. And the following, I mean, during winter, I will move to Berlin. It's supposed to be because I will be taking a master in embedded systems for the for a program called. I mean, it's about the EIT. I don't know if you have heard about that. But that's the way I linked your project with
Cool. Yes.
with this organization. Yeah. So yeah, my question is it possible to have some collaboration with you regarding maybe a thesis project or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. You can just reach out to us. And yeah, we can then have a bilateral discussion about it. We definitely
Okay.
like if someone wants to do a thesis about the Open Charging Network or integrate into a thesis. We already had that here and there with researchers, and we also published one paper at some point. So there is R&D going on, and yeah, happy to have you on board as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you. I will consider that.
Cool. Okay. Any other point about projects around the Open Charging Network? If that is not the case.
Well, maybe I could add
Micha, yeah.
about the smart charging that one of the topics that we are looking into is to replace the smart contract repository with a decentralized identity based system, which would mean that the OCN parties would not be enumerated anymore, or there would be no possibility to enumerate the parties anymore, but they would still be able to prove that they can participate. I think this, from a privacy point of view, this could be an important step, but it would also be a breaking change. So this would mean that we need to agree that this functionality would be part of the OCN 2.0.
Yeah, okay. But this is a requirement for this smart charging pilot, so you need this for this to work, or?
No, it's not a hard requirement. It's just that it's something that we believe is required for the future in order to integrate the OCN with smart charge points and EVs so that they can participate as OCN parties as well.
And it's a improvement for the OCN registry, basically.
Exactly, it would be an improvement, yeah.
Yeah, that is obviously interesting. Yeah, we should go deeper into that. Maybe we can do that later when John is going through the issues. Or if we in general talk about like the next version of the OCN.
Yes.
Which is actually a good transition now over to John that wants to talk about where we now like start with discussing the development. Yeah, John, over to you.
Yeah, great segue, Chris. Hello, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is John Henderson. I'm one of the developers with Share&Charge, and I'll be going through this next development section here. So the objective is to give an update on the current status of the open charging network. I'll be going through the maturity model, and then also I'll be going through the open issues and the high priority issues to align on our short-term development priorities, and see if anyone wants to add anything to the open issues. All right, if you could move to the next slide, please, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
So just to give an overview of the different components of the OCN prior to diving into the issues, for folks who perhaps aren't familiar with the OCN in detail, this slide here shows the key components. So at the top, there's the OCN Registry, which could be viewed as the core of the OCN. This is what allows the parties to be listed so that they can be addressed and then found by other parties and by the OCN node. And so the OCN node there is in the middle. There's obviously potentially many more on a full-scale open charging network, and the OCN node then moderates between different charging parties, like the CPOs and the MSPs, the charge point operators and the e-mobility service providers. And then at the bottom, there's some components there that are just some additional components that support the rest of the network. There's the OCN Notary, which is for message signing, the OCN Bridge, which is to allow parties which don't necessarily implement OCPI 2.1 directly to interface with the OCN. And then we have the OCN demo, which if you haven't done yet, I'd encourage you to check out to get a sense of how the OCN works. It's kind of a tutorial. I think that's it for this here. Hopefully that's a good overview.
Cool.
Okay, so the next slide is touching on the maturity model and our roadmap as well. So the 1.1 release the 1.0 release was released earlier this year. It's ready, it's for production usage. It has the core functionality of the OCN, the OCPI 2.0 messaging, and then the signing, which I mentioned, by the OCN Notary, the whitelisting and blacklisting of OCPI parties. And then we're also looking to do, excuse me, a 1.1 release within the next couple of months. So that's going to include an OCN service interface and service permissions on the OCN registry and the OCN node. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail in a second. And then also the 1.1, we're planning to have the hub client info module included. So that's the OCPI module that allows status updates to be communicated to parties and to other nodes. And then also custom OCN OCPI messages, custom modules as defined in the OCPI spec. Yeah, so that's our immediate feature roadmap. I think we'll get into some of the details of the issues that are outstanding towards this release in the next section when I go over the issue.
Yeah, Micha, I added the idea with the decentralized identifiers there currently as an idea requirement. You said it's a more breaking change, so including that in 1.1, if we want to get that out in the next 1 2 months, then this is maybe too big.
Yeah. Maybe a second idea would be to switch from the point-to-point communication system that we have right now with the messaging to an actual messaging system that would add a messaging backend. The advantage of that would be that, again, we could incorporate into the OCN standalone devices like EVs or EVSEs, and they would not need to care about being online all the time in order to get their messages. They could pull the messaging infrastructure in order to receive messages at selected intervals, and they would not have to carry the burden of the retries to get their messages across, etc. So I think this would actually benefit the stability of the communication in the OCN.
Okay.
And one of the ideas we had from the beginning, and might make sense to add it here, is to have a shared storage layer. So in the initial architecture document for the OCN, we included the communication, which is the part that we implemented, or that Adam implemented with the help of Alzon and John. But we completely ignored the storage part. I think the storage part adds a lot of value to the OCN, because if you are able to share the state of the network, then you could add all sorts of services, like a reservation system or a search service, or probably other people have better ideas than I do. So having this as a requirement add-on for the future might make sense.
Cool. Yeah, did you want to write that down and describe a little bit and share it then maybe there, so that we in the next months can discuss that more in detail?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so as kind of illustrated there, the roadmap is open to new enhancements, of course. All right, so I think for the next section, there's a little overview of the service interface that I was mentioning.
Yeah.
So the idea of the service interface, which as I mentioned is a part of the 1.1 release, is that the messages sent across the OCN network can be forwarded or enhanced by third-party services, and they can then add value to the parties on the network. So they are existing parties on the network. They are also parties such like CPOs and NSPs are, but they provide additional services, as I mentioned. So to show an example of what one would look like, there's a next slide here, which we'll go through that. So in this example, this is a little bit more in detail. In this example, there's a CPO which is forwarding a message to, or sending a message rather, to an EMSP. So in the first step, the message is sent to the node, which then looks up the EMSP's address in the second step via the OCN registry. Once the node has that address, it can forward the request to the EMSP. But in that second node, it can check if there's any services which require the communication, which would be step 4. And then seeing that there's this OCN service, which the CPO had previously made an agreement with to allow it to read messages that it is sending, the node would forward the message to the service, which at a later point, the service could then, say, interact with the MSP or loop back with the CPO to provide additional communication. And then in the final step, of course, is the completion of the initial message. Yeah, so that's just one example of the OCN service interface is quite powerful. So as I mentioned, that's from the 1.1 release that we have planned. Okay, so with that, I'll be going through the open issues that we have and the high priority issues to see if there's any additional discussion in that area and to get everyone on the same page. So let me share my screen here. Okay, actually, just before showing the issues list, I just wanted to quickly go over this open source development documentation page. It's a part of the wiki, which Chris mentioned previously. So these are different wiki pages. This open source development page has some instructions for anyone who would like to contribute. There's just some notes about how to report bugs and add to the pull request, make a pull request, and some requirements, some legal requirements to have source files with the header and having commits with a sign off. So just some notes if you'd like to contribute, and we'd love to have contributors. Please take a look at this page here. Okay, so with that, let's go to the issues list across repositories. So this is a new page that we recently added to the wiki. It allows all of the issues on the OCN to be aggregated so that if you want to have a one-stop shop to see open issues, available issues, this is a good place to go. So if you're looking for it later, if you come to the wiki, it's under open source development in this issues list page. So what I'd like to do is start by going through the open issues, and then I'll go through the major issues as time permits. So in terms of open issues, there's just a couple that I'm aware of. Currently, I'm working on including the billing service into the OCN tutorial, the OCN demo, which I mentioned previously. So that's open, and that should be completed within the next few weeks. And then another open issue is the Hub Client Info module pagination. So this is an enhancement on the Hub Client Info module to allow paginated requests. So there's an open pull request here. It's one that I submitted a few weeks ago, but pending the release of the 1.1, there's some other higher priority items that we're working on at the moment, but there is an open pull request on this Hub Client Info module pagination. Okay, so with that, those are the open issues that I'm aware of, and let's go through the major issues that are new. So this first one here, that the PRs are not public, is I think something we have to work on. as far as Bitbucket settings, but I don't think there's much discussion unless you want to add anything, Adam.
No, yeah, it's just something I noticed recently, and
right.
Yeah, we should check that.
Yeah, I did have a look into it. I couldn't find why they are not public. Yeah, I was mentioning maybe you retry. Did you already do that? Or?
No, I think it was yesterday I discovered this.
Yeah. Okay. I just retry. I was clicking around a little bit. I didn't see any difference to the other repositories, so not sure what's going wrong. But obviously, the pull request should also be public on the OCN bridge. Yeah, let me know if it's resolved or not. And
no, it's still broken.
Okay, then we need a more Bitbucket specialist than I am to look onto that. But yeah, obviously you want to change that, Adam.
Yeah, I think the pull requests are available on other repositories, so we can compare them, see the differences with this OCN bridge one.
Yeah, I did that. I don't know why, but yeah. Anyways, Adam, just for you, like, yeah, we changed that as soon as possible.
No worries.
Okay, and then moving on to the next major issue that's new here is this OCN rules modification via the OCN service interface. Let's open this here. I believe this is one that that you added, Chris. It would be an enhancement on the OCN service interface beyond the forwarding of messages, which it currently does. Is there anything you wanted to add here, Chris, or anything to discuss?
Yeah, I guess there it's still not clear how we implement that. Like the idea behind this is that, for example, a contracting tool can change the black and white list of an OCPI party in the OCN node. That is the idea behind. Not sure whether this is so important to have it in the 1.1 yet. I was just mentioning it, and if we find that someone really needs that for version 1.1 and it really makes sense, and we also have an idea how to implement it, then happy to include it. It's not super urgent, I guess, but yeah, open to have also ideas how to implement that, or yeah, any other thoughts on it. But I guess from my side, nothing to discuss about now. Only if someone else has a question around it. Happy to answer questions.
Yeah, I think we might have to loop back. Perhaps I'll talk to you, Adam, about whether or not the permissions contract would need to be modified, the permission smart contract, to implement this. I don't think it would have to be.
No, the permission IDs is just an integer.
Right.
So you can have any number of new IDs added to the permission smart contract.
I see. So it's just that the OCN node needs to recognize and act on a new permission.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, another point maybe on this one is, did you have any ideas, Chris, on how the changes to the permissions would be communicated? Would those be done via OCPI messaging or a custom module or something of the sort? Or?
I mean, we currently have this list of permissions, right, in the repository. Right. In the future, there must be then a way, yes, that someone who comes up with a new permission and adds it to the OCN node, that this is then also publicly shared. But yeah, I guess at this point, it's fine as it is. Here, as I guess the main challenge is, we are changing the OCN node in that sense that it can execute this. But
okay.
I would keep it as like new for now, and we watch out for parties that might be interested in using this. And if we find some, or if we find that is a hard requirement in that sense, then we include it into 1.1. If not, we can wait.
Right. Yeah. So as Chris is mentioning that, one thing we wanted to highlight in this call is that we would welcome folks to vote on issues if, as Chris said, if this issue or another issue is important to you and you would like to see it implemented, feel free to vote for the issue and let us know that would be important. Okay, so I will move on from that issue on to the next high priority new issue, which is the JS package should convert signable header fields to lowercase. This is a bug, I believe. Yeah, in essence, it's a modification to the OCN Notary, which is the package or the repository which handles the signing of OCPI OCN messages, and the key values in the usage of the JavaScript package need to be lowercase. So this is a change that I think we should make relatively soon. I think you can still use the JS package without issue, but there's potential for incorrect use. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the JS package can still be used, but we should, in particular, maybe clarify the example. And it shouldn't be too hard to do this conversion to lowercase.
No, it's quite trivial.
Okay.
And one question from my side, is that something that is so critical that we should push it to master as soon as possible, or can we wait for the general 1.1 release and include it then?
It depends on your priorities, but I don't think it needs to wait for 1.1, for example.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, I'll move on to next issue then. This is another bug that was brought up recently. We need to update the ethers package in the OCN registry. Yeah, this I think is also somewhat high priority.
Yeah, so recently Ethers was upgraded to version 5, and I think that new version contains the fix for these signature malleability issues, which is quite a critical issue according to NPM. And yeah, so I think also the notary uses this package. So we need to review the usage of Ethers to interact with smart contracts across all the various packages.
Right. So once this was done, we would have to then integrate the OCN registry back into the, would we have to integrate it back into the OCN node? Is that fair?
No. This applies to all JavaScript code.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, something to look for in the future, I think, is somewhat separate from this issue, but if we could do like an automated scan of the repositories to notify us of these issues, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if Bitbucket provides this kind of tool. I know on GitHub there's various tools that are doing this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if there was a similar tool on Bitbucket.
Yeah, I looked into it briefly. I think Dependabot was acquired by GitHub.
Right.
So they slowed down their development.
Okay.
The Bitbucket tool, but I'm sure there's something we can find. So something to do as well. Okay, and then now moving on to this proposal here, which was made recently to separate identity from signer in the OCN registry. Do you want to speak to this at all, Adam?
Yeah, sure. So something I considered recently, where we have a single identity which is used to list parties and nodes in the registry. And this identity, being a Ethereum compliant key pair, is also then used in the applications to actually sign OCPI requests to ensure the validity of data when it's transported via OCN nodes. And we have then a single point of failure. If that identity is compromised, you lose not only your identity in the registry, but also your signature key. So what could be nice is if the registry contains a separate field for the key, which is used to sign the OCPI request. And then if that key is compromised, you at least don't lose your overall OCN identity. So you could use that to sign transactions offline and keep that secure away from potential security breaches that might impact your application, which has then, it may have access to the private key used to sign the OCPI requests.
Right.
But this again would require probably a breaking change or a separate smart contract to contain this additional metadata about an OCN identity.
Right.
Is that also linked to the proposal of the decentralized identifiers of Micha, or can we separate that? Or is that a step towards the decentralized identifiers?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we see the DIDs as the end goal, and this could be a step along the way. Yeah.
I see in that the information that would be created in this change, I mean, the separation of the identity and the keys, could those be then reused in the decentralized identities, or is it just a similar pattern?
Exactly, yeah. So if you think of, you have this root identity and you have a sub-identity, and the sub-identity is the one that's actually signing the OCPI requests. This concept, it would be applicable in DIDs because you have a DID identifier and the DID document itself, which contains the metadata, and you could have then a field in the metadata which lists the signer key.
Okay. It seems like a good idea to me. Yeah, we'll have to talk more about the implementation and the migration aspects, but it seems like a good idea.
If you say breaking change, that means definitely something that we can't update at some point, or how make this parties that are actively using it. That's
sure. So I mean, one thing is that if you take the approach where you create a new smart contract where which is based on the original registry, and it contains maybe additional metadata for the OCN registry participants or list of participants, then this could be a way of ensuring backwards compatibility, let's say. But yeah, we need to think about this some more. And I agree, it would be nice, obviously, not to have to release version 2 just yet and include this in a sooner release.
Yeah, for me, the biggest question also for prioritizing is like how big is the chance of a security breach? That's yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, it is up to the implementer, the OCPI party, or the node operator to keep their keys secure. But there's still the chance, I guess, that there could be a breach.
Yeah, definitely something to consider. I guess we need to take that forward and come up with a proposal. How to move there, whilst having in mind, that people are using it. Yeah. And also, I think, we should set up a meeting also discussing then the ideas that Micha had to take that further.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, good discussion there. Just cognizant of time here, Chris, do you think we've got time for a few more issues and then open it up to some Q&A, or should we see if there's any questions at this point?
Yeah, I guess we still have 12 minutes, so I still think there is room for one more or two more issues.
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah, still a handful of major issues, but I think, we can work through them. This next issue is some investigation that we'll have to do prior to the 1.1 release. Something that I noticed when setting up a service via the raw OCN Registry commands ran into an error. So it's just something that needs to be investigated. I haven't put much time into it yet, but certainly prior to the 1.1, we'll have to look at the test cases on the registry and see if we can add coverage for this to see if there's an issue somewhere. Do you have anything you want to add, Adam or Chris or Evan?
Not for me.
Nope. Okay. So I mentioned this one already. I'm working on including the billing service in the OCN tutorial. And then
say one or two more sentences about it.
Sure. Well, wait, I can go into that. It will be, in essence, following the flow that was in that slide that I went through earlier, where a CPO is sending a CDR to an EMSP, but it's also forwarded to the billing service, who can then send an invoice to the EMSP via custom OCPI module. So I suppose it will be showing, in addition to the billing service, it will be showing an example of the custom OCPI module usage.
By the way, just to jump in, have we announced the new tutorial itself?
No, that's a good point, though.
Sure.
Or no?
I wanted
to leave it. Okay.
Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
No. If it's if you want to leave it for a bit of time, sure.
No. I wanted to include this one into it, and it's not done yet, right? Or what do you mean by new tutorial?
I mean the just reworked tutorial.
Yeah. Yeah, depends how quickly we get done this.
Okay, no worries. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
Just
sure,
to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what I definitely want to do here is like we some graphical explanation, basically what is happening so people understand like what is the value behind the service interface that we need to do before we can make a big announcement. Or I think it helps the announcement, but also John, and I think you need to finish up this this issue first. Yeah.
But for the 1.0
Yeah.
OCN, okay.
That you worked on, you mean?
Yeah.
That we announced that one.
Oh, okay.
You mean that there are two separate announcements, right?
Right. I was talking about the first one. So just the Dockerized tutorial.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to show it, just simply show the repository and.
Yeah, let's do a blog post around it. Yeah,
okay.
That's a good idea, Adam, actually, because it's way simpler now to set up, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's worth an announcement. Yeah.
That's true, and the instructions have been simplified and improved as well. So,
yeah.
in addition to the setup and execution.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, good, Adam, for mentioning it. Then, yeah, we should definitely make a post about it. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So while we're talking about the OCN tutorial, an additional enhancement that's planned is to include Hub Client Info implementation. So the Hub Client Info, as I mentioned previously, is an OCPI module that will be included in 1.1. So this issue here is to highlight that in the tutorial in the OCN demo. Not much to add here from my end unless there's anything else. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, just this issue here, this tutorial does not work on Mac OS, is the one that we were talking about just a moment ago. The change to use Docker across each of the tutorial components allows it to work on Mac OS now. So that's resolved. And then the last major issue that we have is to support the tokens module in the OCN bridge. It's supported, of course, in the OCN node already.
Yeah, my question to Adam there is whether you need that, or is there any priority behind from your point of view? If not, I would, as I mentioned here, also bring that to the project that wants to build this whole translator, right?
Yeah, so I added for our project we needed a simulation MSP, so we used the mock MSP, and I only implemented the get tokens interface. So that's the sender interface. But I would need to also implement the real-time authorization endpoint, and I could create a pull request for that. So, well, assuming the pull requests are open, but yeah.
Okay, good point. Well played, Adam. Okay. Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
I mean, in general, for the OCN bridge, it didn't see a lot of development after release. So I've been going through it and adding some quality of life improvements, and I can, yeah, submit a pull request when that's ready.
Cool, sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so that covers the new major issues. Is there any other issue that anyone wanted to discuss or highlight? If not, we can see if there's any questions or additional comments. I haven't seen any raised hands or anything of the sort. Okay, well, I'll hand it back over to Chris then to close it off.
Cool. Let's share my screen. I only have a final slide. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, to highlight once more like our online resources, basically that you can use the wiki for explanations around the Open Charging Network, how to use it, etc. And of course our repositories, and we set up a Slack channel. We were on GitHub before, but to streamline our communication, make it easier for everyone, we decided to set up this Slack channel for everyone to join. And if you want to join that, just reach out to us. Then we send you an invite. And as said, we want to have these calls now monthly to discuss the issues and pull requests and proposals around the Open Charging Network. Feel free to join again in a month, the 8th of September. And if there's now any question or open point left, then feel also free to raise your hand now, or just unmute yourself. Okay, I don't see anyone. Yeah, then that's it. See you in the Slack channel or wherever, and talk to you in a month. Have a good evening.
Bye. Have a great time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.